Hello world, it's D here at Unapologetic Instructors. I'm going to go over a subject that's real touchy to others. One of my favorites. No, not really. It's called weight distribution. In other words, setting up your tandems correctly after you pick up a loaded trailer to make sure that you meet the weight restrictions of the road, which is 80,000 pounds max and 34,000 pounds on the drive axles and the trailer tandems. You want to be within that because that is going to be one expensive ticket, one you don't want to keep repeating. Now, we do it simply by a system called Right Weight from Right Weight Incorporated. It's a system that actually measures it by air pressure, the amount of weight on your tandems. So it gives you a pretty good readout of what you have on your drives and what you have on your trailer. Basically allowing us to not worry about scaling out. So what I'm going to do is go into a little bit of detail and explain that and how it works. Now the right weight system pretty much enables you to save money. Number one, as a prime driver, it's installed on all prime trucks and prime trailers. Technically, well, reality, I haven't used a scale at least in the last 9 years since I became a driver. Simply because I make sure that my right weight system is always calibrated. So when you get your first load, if you have the system installed on your truck, the first thing you'd want to do is scale that load out. That way you're able to calibrate your system right from the very beginning. It's on a scale inside your cab, and you're going to need this tool right here. All it is a simple flat tip screwdriver. You're going to need it to turn the gauge to where it's calibrated, set up against whatever your scale weight is. Then you simply repeat the same process for the trailer. All you got to do is open the lid, read the instructions, and follow them to the T, and you'll also be able to calibrate your trailer. That's step one. Without the system being calibrated, well, it's useless. So now the calibration step is simple. So that you're not wasting time and spending too much time on the scale because it's probably a line behind you, the easiest thing to do is write down the numbers you see on the scale. You don't need to be on the scale to calibrate the system. You do need to be on flat, level ground, though. But write the numbers down, move off the scale to give someone else a chance. Move to a flat location, set your brakes, and calibrate it right there. Now, all you simply do on the scale inside your cab is you take your flat tip screwdriver, insert it into the screw, and turn until the scale lines up with the number or set of numbers that you have on your drive tires. The scale in the truck is set to your drive tire weight. For example, if your scale read on your drives 32,000 pounds, then that means you're going to turn the screw until 32 lines up on the dial itself. As close as possible as you can to that number. You've now calibrated the scale on your drive tires. For the trailer, it's the same process. Turn the air on your trailer so that you have airflow going to the trailer. Then open up the box, read the set of instructions. It will outline how to calibrate the system on the trailer itself. Now, I do recommend that you make sure that the trailer is calibrated before you take the true number that you see there. Just because you see that number shown, that doesn't mean that that's correct weight on that trailer. You're supposed to calibrate the trailers, but that doesn't mean all trailers are calibrated. So I'm going to show you what I do to go around that in simplest form as well. I make sure that my truck is calibrated. I don't worry too much about the trailers. but I make sure that my truck is always calibrated. And the only reason for that is, doesn't mean that you have a right weight system on your trailer. Doesn't always necessarily mean that the right weight on that trailer is functioning properly. But I do know in my truck, it is functioning properly. So to get around that, I simply, whatever number I have or whatever weight I have in that trailer is going to be matched up to the calibration that I put on the scale by simply turning the screw to meet whatever weight I have as I'm on the scale or off the scale. That way I know that my truck is calibrated properly. So now I have my drive tire calibrated to the weight that's shown on the scale. That's calibrating the scale inside your truck. When you're done with that, truck is set to go. Now all you got to do is simply make sure that you stay within the weight guidelines, which is 34,000 pounds per axle or less. So now, next question's got to be, well, how do I know what hole to set my trailer in? Well, the answer is simple. Depending on what state you're going through, for example, California, we know that we need to be in a 6 hole or less. So what you're trying to find out is whether or not my drives are within the range of 34,000 or less going through the state of California. You also need to make sure that your trailer is within those guidelines. And like the way to do that is by simply, as you connect it to your trailer, what I like to do is first move all the way forward. Release my tandems, pull forward until my tandems are all the way to the rear. Then I slowly start backing. As I'm backing, I'm watching my scale. I go back 10 feet, maybe 5 feet, 10 feet. Stop, see where the scale relies. Wherever it lies, that's about the amount of weight you have on your drives at the moment. I continue going backwards until that needle peaks just above 34,000 pounds. On flat land, and I level out, that needle's about 34,000 pounds. I now know that I have just about 34,000 pounds on my drive tires. Now, having said that, the rest of the weight must be on the trailer tandems. I'm now going to check to make sure I'm at the proper weight limit. So I know that my drive tires are just above 34,000 pounds. Now it's time to get out and go check the trailer. So I'm going to simply get out of the vehicle, go back to the rear of the trailer, open up my right weight system, and follow the instructions that is clearly written on how to check the weight of the trailer. All I'm going to simply do is check to make sure I'm within guidelines. If you have a right weight system set up on your vehicle, I'd advise you to use it. Make sure that you have it calibrated, especially in the truck. Calibrate your system, saves you money and time. Ever since I started driving, the first year, I scaled out it, but ever since then, I've never spent money on scaling out. I do it myself. Any prime driver out there shouldn't have that problem. If you're a driver and you have a calibrated system or a system that's activated in your truck, calibrate it, use it. Save yourself time, save yourself money. Scale tickets get expensive, especially when you're doing it more than once a day. So, I hope this video helped. For those of you who did, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Thanks for watching.